So, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Assistive Technology Social Hub. We're delighted to be back again for another month. My name is Stuart Lawler from Sight and Sound Technology, and we're, of course, delighted to co-host the Social Hub with our charity partner, Seascape in Scotland. And of course, Stuart Beveridge is the representative from Seascape on the call. Today, we're delighted to have Mark Belcher from Henshaws Society for the Blind. I've had the pleasure of chatting to Mark a couple of times, and I'm going to say it now because Mark probably won't say it. People should watch some of the videos Mark has made, which are on the Henshaws website. I think Mark will probably point us to them at some point.
Yep.
Because to see the guy using technology, you would think he is blind, and I thought Mark was blind or low vision. This guy is fully sighted. So I just wanted to say that by way of introducing you, Mark, not to embarrass you or anything. So we're delighted today to talk all about what Mark is doing, what the organization are doing, and how they're helping to make public services across England more accessible. I'm very interested to hear more about that. If you'd like to get in touch with us today, of course, the old reliables, raising your hand and chatting to us, Alt and Y, if you want to raise your hand if you're on Windows, or activate the raise hand button if you're on a mobile app, or Alt and H if you want to chat to us, or activate the chat button. And just to give you a little glimpse of what's happening on the next Social Hub, and it is a rather important announcement because there's also a change of date. Stuart Beveridge is going to do one of his, by now, legendary demos, and he's going to show us the Chromebook. We made reference to this, I think, on our Christmas edition. We were talking about the Chromebook. Stuart's going to come along and do this. The Social Hub is changing next month only. We're on the 24th of March. That's a Thursday. We're not on the 17th of March because it is St. Patrick's Day here, and I will not be in work that day. So we are on the 24th of March, and there will be information going out in advance about the Social Hub, but it's all about Chromebooks next month. And Stuart, I'm certainly looking forward to that because I'm kind of thinking about buying one. So based on what you tell me, I'll either do it or not. So delighted to have Mark Belcher. Mark, I mean, first of all, thanks for taking the time to chat to us. You do a lot of stuff in relation to technology. What's your role within Henshaws, maybe just to start?
Oh man, I'm just laughing at myself because I've always got an app for that, or I've already done a video. So like on the Chromebook, we've done a blog on the Chromebook. Interestingly, because we were asked to do it for the library service in Greater Manchester, because they bought a load of Chromebooks in COVID. So they asked us to basically to help staff understand the accessibility features of Chromebook. We did a bit of a blog on it. So anyway, yeah, I just wrote it down because it was going to be a link, but I thought I'd just throw it in anyway. So welcome everyone to Mark. Sorry, Stuart. I just went off on one already.
That's all right, Mark. That's all right. So maybe just give us a little bit for people who don't know, who are Henshaws Society? Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Henshaws are a northern charity, I'll say. So we were established in 1837, which is a long time ago. So like 185-ish years for those that got a calculator. And we were set up obviously to give people independence, those people with sight loss. So we're doing the same thing now, it's just a different day and we've got different things. So obviously technology is one element of how we help people, giving them knowledge and giving them training, giving them understanding. So it's no different from 1837 to today, really. We're here to make sure that this world is as inclusive as it can be and people have got the skills to be as independent as possible.
Okay. In terms of the technology services that you provide, and I know we actually spoke on a podcast about this before, and you're going to be talking to us on a separate podcast which we'll publish shortly. Just maybe tell us a little bit about the services that you and your team provide, and then maybe a little bit about this Knowledge Village, which is this huge space that is open to anyone, which is fantastic.
Okay, yeah. So there is this kind of new subject called digital inclusion. So, you and I and Stuart know that we've been trying to digitally include people for decades, right? So it's kind of not a new thing for us. And that might be a piece of equipment, it might be a website that's not accessible. It's everything really, and it encompasses that. So Henshaws have been delivering technology training since kind of Windows 98. So a long time ago when there wasn't that much choice. So it was essentially, magnifiers and some software that you put on top of Windows. And we've been doing that right up until today. The game changed in 2008, as we all know, when the fantastic iPhone came out, and then that kind of changed the game a little bit. Once the iPhone came out, then all the applications therein came through, and innovation, mainstream and specialist, has just kept going. It's just fantastic. So our service has changed over the years. So currently my service encompasses various things in the physical sense. So one of the things is an assessment. So it's kind of an OT-based assessment to look at essentially the person, what they're trying to achieve, and then trying to find the right way to meet to look at their problems and solve the solutions with technology sometimes. So we have assessments, we have training. We do general information, advice and guidance, which is essentially keeping people connected or at arm's length, getting them an idea to get connected. We have something called Tech Talk. So that's an opportunity for people to either physically meet or virtually. And when I say virtually, we've been doing this again for like 5 years, giving people the opportunity to kind of call in or even just receive the minutes of the meeting. We help people find money, so through grants, we help them achieve that, and that's through various grant opportunities, including the RNIB, which is fantastic. We're really successful with our grants, which helps people a lot. And then the spin-off from that is something called the Knowledge Village, which is a big part of my job, really. Obviously, it's kind of probably 50-50, I'd say, but it does link really nicely because a lot of the stuff that's in the Knowledge Village comes from my team's understanding of technology and the changes therein. Yeah, I don't think I've missed anything there on the services, and we do that in Greater Manchester mostly. We have hubs in Greater Manchester, and we'll help anybody from anywhere, but I kind of got 6 of the 10 local authorities covered. Still trying to find ways where we can operate properly in some of the local authorities. But the Knowledge Village was all about the fact that we can't be everywhere all the time. And if we could give somebody from anywhere a little bit of our knowledge, then that could go a long way. And I'm not bothered if they're from Preston or Portsmouth or, I don't know, Palmer, it doesn't matter to me.
Has the Knowledge Village to some length maybe come out of COVID, or was this happening before COVID?
No, well, I'll go right back to the day, if you like, where did it come from, the idea? Mm-hmm. So my boss, the chief exec called Nick Marr, he went on a unpaid sabbatical to West Africa, literally in a 4x4, traveling village to village, and basically to support people with sight loss. And when he came back, one of the things he said to me was, I kind of wish that the team was in the back of the 4x4 because I didn't have your knowledge. I did okay, and I helped how I could, but I actually didn't have your knowledge. So wouldn't it be interesting if I had you lot in the back of my 4x4? So he basically said, you know stuff, don't you, Mark? I mean, it was literally like that. I went, well, I know stuff. He went, right, well, I've got this idea of trying to take your knowledge, sticking it somewhere, and just to see if there's any uptake. Are people interested in it? Would it work? And that was in 2016. So I kind of said, yeah, I'll have a go. And it was just me and a lady called Debs, who was then the market manager. We had no budget. I had my Mac, I had my camera, I borrowed some software, loosely termed borrowed, and lots of not got a clue. I mean, literally, it was proper like cottage industry. But with the help of YouTube and a cameraman I met from the BBC, I got better quick. And the first video we actually did was in December 2016. And it was Be My Eyes, funnily enough. I mean, there's some people talking about Be My Eyes as a new thing. We did a video in December 2016, and it's still a relevant video today, which is the point about the stuff, some of the stuff we know. You know, it's got longevity. Some of it hasn't. Some of it comes and goes because that's technology and it keeps moving. But some of it isn't. So, you know, it's not just about technology. We talk about like canes. What are canes? What's a symbol cane? What's a long cane? You know, what how do you use them? What they're about? We talk about everything in the Knowledge Village. And we've come on a long way now. You know, we've got more professional, we've got proper, you know, because I'm not, we've got proper videographers. We've got some very nice equipment, and we've got loads and loads of ideas and material that, you know, it will never stop, basically. And the Knowledge Village, you said just then, Stuart, it's for anybody. So it was originally, obviously, designed for somebody with sight loss, but quite quickly, from practical sessions we did with people and been doing with people for decades, we always try and get the family involved. So quite quickly, we knew it's not just going to help somebody with sight loss, it's going to help anyone attached to them, friends, family. Sight loss professionals are a massive chunk of the people that receive the Knowledge Village, and I'll tell you how you can grab that sort of material in various ways. Then plus anybody else. So we've got corporates that use the Knowledge Village. I mean, we're talking corporates that the only connection they've got with sight loss is a possible customer. And that might be, you know, O2, it might be Tesco, doesn't really matter really. And that's the point of the Knowledge Village. I'm not bothered who you are, I'm not bothered where you're from. If it's useful for you, then it's there and it's available to you. And essentially they're blogs, videos and booklets, hundreds of videos, scores of hundreds of blogs and booklets. And it essentially talks about mainstream technology, specialist technology that you guys are into, the software, the applications, life hacks, ideas on sport and leisure, daily living, ideas on how this, you know, we can create this kind of more inclusive society, just stuff for everybody, really. I need a breath. Kind of more questions.
Yeah. So, and is this, so when you say there's all this knowledge, does this exist on a website? Can people kind of contribute to the knowledge? So if somebody has something maybe they want to share as a user, maybe.
That's a great question, that. Right. So so yes, people do and can contribute in different ways, and there's various ways you can grab the information as well. So so one way is to go to YouTube and punch in Henshaws YouTube channel, right? So that's one way you can access just the videos. Saying that though, we've started putting some of the blogs on there using a fantastic voice from Amazon Polly. So some of our blogs are actually in YouTube as well. So we're trying to get, because a lot of the blogs don't become videos, but obviously it's fantastic material. So we've been throwing that as an idea actually up to YouTube. Then there's our website. So there's our website that's got the Knowledge Village. And then you can subscribe from our website, which is the usual, you know, www.henshaws.org.uk. Most of that is in the link that I've just put on the chat. Just you know, put www. in front of the Henshaws and you've got us. Have a mooch around there. There's a newsletter basically, which is essentially you'll just get an email saying, you know, showing you the latest kind of video that we've got, and just a reminder that we're there, and there's various other subjects. But the bulk of it really is YouTube and our website. So how do people get involved? In various ways. So there's some people in our video. So the NHS, for instance, one of a really successful video is on how you apply drops when you've got Mac. Not just about the reach, but also the comments. The comments are just terrible in a good way, you know. I'm glad I've got this information because I didn't receive that when I was told about my drops, etc., etc. So it's great evidence for us to say, this is helping people. And so that's kind of one of the ways people can. So the NHS said, any chance we can do a video and get it up, and we did that, and it was fantastic. Even kind of just the other day, I had a rover contact me about basically she was looking for an Alexa driven microwave, potentially for a customer, a client, whatever they call them, visually impaired people, VIPs, or people with sight loss, right? And from my little bit of research for her, I created a blog. So because I didn't just look for an Alexa, I thought, right, well, I already done a video on how you can apply bump-ons to a very cheap kind of dial microwave. I've done a video on talking microwaves. So if I just add this Alexa-driven microwave, then it'd be a fantastic blog. So, she's named. So Celia is named in the blog. I wrote the blog. We're just going to deliver it. And there's also something called Insight, which I'm really proud of, actually. And it's an interesting concept, especially when I first introduced it. So insights are stories from people with sight loss, right? But they're not about us. So they're nothing to do with Henshaws. And in fact, if anyone mentions the great services of Henshaws, we cut it out. It goes out of the edit because it's about, they can talk about how organisations have supported him, but it's not a promotional video for Henshaws. It's a video that is aimed at kind of peer-to-peer support. So hopefully somebody that's currently, going through their, sight loss journey and need to understand, because I've had loads of people that have said, I kind of thought no one got it and I was the only one with it. And then when you start getting introduced with other people with sight loss, you feel a little bit better that you can cope. Well, these videos are trying to be this peer-to-peer support. And we've got like 17 videos at the moment. And my idea is, we don't even stop at 100. We have all these conversations and it's done in a particular way. So, we're not in it. It's not an interview thing. It's people talking and answering questions. It's done quite in a really quite cute way. And we've got like famous people as well. We're all famous in our own way, but the blind poet, Dave Steele, he's in it. There's a guy who's called Chris Fisher. He's the first proper blind wood turner. Laura Fascia, she's an Olympian, Paralympian gold medal. She won tandem last year, gold. And she got various other medals. Simon Marner, he might even be on watching now. He's got 3 great books. The latest one's called Winging It. So it's kind of everything to everyone, really. And then there's kind of spin-offs from that. So because of us having this reach, and this particular way, and I think the particular way I believe we go about is transparent and informal. Not stiff at all, which is one of the points we're trying to get over it. If it's trying to be like if you were in a room with me, well, what would I say and how would I act? That's how we try and get it over in the video, because somebody said to me, it's hard enough trying to be yourself. Don't try and be somebody else, because that's, double whammy trying to concentrate on that. So we've had like the NHS came to us. We've had Transport for Greater Manchester. So we currently finished a project with a really interesting project. Just got the last blog to finish off called Travel Assist project with Transport for Greater Manchester, which was kind of like, for those, we just mentioned it before, Be My Eyes. It's kind of like Be My Eyes, but the contact is actually in the infrastructure of the transport system. So that's a contact center, and they can connect to your phone. They can see what you can see from your phone. They know where you are. they know where you want to go, and they can advise you how to either get from A to B in that built-up environment, or support you, jumping on a train to Leeds to London. So that was called the Travel Assist project. It was a fantastic project. And there's the app, one of the blogs is up there, and we're just getting the next one's going to be next week. And you'll find them on our website. And we're just finishing, well, it finishes at the end of the month, really. And we've done a project with the NHS. So before we all get booed, it's not the COVID app, it's the NHS app, the one that allows you to do various things like repeat prescriptions, look at your medical history, et cetera, and obviously your COVID passport is through this. We help them understand what accessibility is, what usability is. We even found bugs, so which is fantastic, isn't it? Like a little charity like us, and it was Alice who we worked with. She found a little bug, which was if you wanted to attach your COVID passport into your Apple Wallet, the button wasn't labeled properly. And this is the NHS, for God's sake. You think that it'd be covered, but it wasn't. And it was great that they involved us to find these bugs. Question is, have they changed it? I don't know. It will be something that I write up in my report at the end of this month. And we're doing like a massive survey as well, which will give us an understanding of how the barriers and challenges people face. That might be technological reasons or not. So we've got quite an interesting survey that's been supported by, the big boys as well, like the RNIB and Guide Dogs. They've helped us get this survey over. So that'll be interesting. So I'll share that with you once it's done. Maybe I'll come back and tell you how it all went.
Absolutely. You're certainly doing loads of things. One thing I suppose that springs to mind when you talk about the COVID certificates and stuff like that, and talking to the NHS and obviously being able to help them, anything around COVID testing, because I suppose everyone's talking about accessible COVID tests and the fact that it's very difficult. Because if you've low vision, it's challenging. If you're blind, it's even more challenging. And I know there's services like Be My Eyes, but is that something that's come on your radar?
To be honest, and I don't know, it was last night I clocked it, to be honest. There is something, and I don't know specifically what it is because I've not researched in it because I came into work to do other things today. One of the things that is written down is that I think there is something going on with Be My Eyes and the RNIB and trying to get people connected to Be My Eyes for that lateral flow testing. That obviously might end soon anyway. I don't know where no one knows where that's going at the moment, but yeah, so I don't know, but the biggest thing, to be honest, we haven't had lots of people complain about lateral flow testing, probably, because a lot of our kind of beneficiaries have not been going out and about, because that's another problem that people have been facing, trying to socially distance when they can't see too well. So we haven't had a lot of people complain about that. I tell you what, we have had a lot of people complain about is trying to get onto the NHS app. It's a nightmare for everybody. As soon as you start introducing sight loss and limited ability to use the smart technology, it starts becoming, and even the process, the process of having a passport or having a driving license. What if you haven't got a passport and a driving license? Well, then you've got to involve your GP, which can take too long. And then, it's just, the front end is just horrendous. And the kind of report will say we understand why it would be, because we all need to be safe and have our data secure, but it must be a better way. But and they know that from conversations that we've had anyway, through this process of this project. But it's a great opportunity. It really is.
We just have a test message, or sorry, we have a text message even, or a chat message here from Liz Silver, who says, I haven't done a lateral flow test. It just seems impossible with the very fiddly nature of it, and let alone the lack of info about it. And I suppose that might be how a lot of blind people feel.
Yeah, absolutely true. I mean, just trying to get 2 drops in a very, very small slot in a non-tactile, depository, is very, very, very difficult.
Very tricky, yeah.
Yeah, and again, not really thought out for our people. Really, it's just not good.
It's definitely a tough one. Okay, if just again, to quick reminder, if people have questions or comments, or you'd like to, maybe we want to ask Mark a question about technology in general, maybe you can raise your hand with Alt and Y, press the raise hand button, or of course type in the chat, and we're keeping an eye on those as well. Mark, I was kind of just thinking as you were talking there, you've spent a fair bit of time in this sector and looking at how technology has developed. What do you think have been the big changes maybe for visually impaired people in the last number of years, or I guess maybe as long as you've been in this role? What has been the biggest pieces of tech that have certainly helped maybe people's quality of life?
I've mentioned it already, and I think it's how some technology have been built properly from scratch. So the iPhone, as soon as it came out, it was accessible for all, and it's just got better. But when you start talking about accessible technology, it's got to be OCR. I think OCR. So for those that don't know, that's kind of text to speech. And speech to text technology. So, a lot of people forget about things like Dragon, fantastic pieces of technology that are now kind of, inbuilt into iOS and inbuilt into Microsoft Office. So being able to talk and it will type for you, and vice versa. So OCR is fantastic. And, that's on standalone products like Orcam, but then you can use it on other products as well. So like the Optilec gear, they've got both magnification and OCR, so best of both worlds, which is a great solution because some people want to read using what residual vision they've got, and then when they feel a bit tired or can't be bothered, flick over to OCR and let it read for you. I think that's a fantastic solution for people. And then we start getting into the wearable stuff. So wearables are a massive thing. Suni Band, I think for the right person is a fantastic solution. Right up until things are just getting smaller and faster and slicker. The new Oxide Onyx that's come out for people with Mac and other with kind of central vision loss. We're getting quite interesting comments on that. Early days for us at the moment. We've done a couple of clinics. We're doing some more clinics. One on Monday in Bolton, but we are getting oh my god and kind of wows. So and hopefully it just keeps coming. I think one thing is missing still, I'd say, is so OCR. What was that then? I'll grab that in a minute.
Just a question. Yeah, we'll come to that question. Thanks, Liz, for your question.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's one for Sight and Sound, that. Give me a minute. Where are we up to? Yeah, so Onyx. Yeah, one of the things missing, I think, is trying to use a bit like Envision and their use of Google Glass. I think it'd be great to have, a smart camera that people can wear, not necessarily, as a pair of glasses, but wear that can then do things for people. So scan environment, scan whatever we need, really, linked to the phone. I think that's something that will be coming because I think the masses want some sort of wearable camera. So as soon as the masses start wanting things, then hopefully application manufacturers will start thinking about, well, how could that technology support somebody with sight loss? The other thing that's missing, I'd say, is navigating internal environments. There's nothing really that does that now. There is technology out there that could do it, but it's trying to get people to embrace the fact that, you know, if you dumped me in the middle of the Trafford Centre now, I wouldn't have a clue how to get to HMV, even if I don't even know if HMV is still around. You know, it's by hook or crook I get there, because, you know, I can ask people, I can see it, I can go to the signage. Still a pain. You know, it'd be great if I could just get there by instructions on my phone, and if that's good for me, then it's good for everybody. And you know, there are organisations that are trying to address that. So there's a guy called Edan. He's got like it's a hardware solution called Right Here. So there are sets of beacons. There's also an organisation, British organisation called Waymaps, and they're looking at internal navigation and external navigation. So they call it what do you call it now? Sofa to seat. So it literally get you out of your house and to a seat on a train seamlessly. So right away through, you know, the external environment, you know, your roads and your walkways, to your internal environments, the tube, the subway, and it doesn't need any. It needs Wi-Fi, but it doesn't need. I think it needs Wi-Fi actually. I'll have to check with that. Just for myself, but it doesn't need any infrastructure, no beacons, no connectivity with the environment per se. It's all from the cloud. So yeah, so that there's loads on our horizon that's going to help people with, and they're the things we can think about. God knows what all the things we can't, because
what's going to come in the future.
Yeah.
I just want to go back to the chat then. So Liz's question, which we can kind of throw open maybe between us all, and maybe we can throw this out to the other Stuarts as well. So Liz is asking, how do you get a combined printer scan fax machine to scan with OCR so that it can be read?
I don't think you can. I'm going to chip in there. I don't think it exists.
If I'm not mistaken, I think, and Liz, jump in if you want again. I think what Liz is asking is if she has a combined printer scanner fax machine connected to her computer, can that be used as a scanner for to read with OCR?
Right.
And I'm thinking it can, if the computer will just see it as a scanner. But I don't know, Liz, I may have misinterpreted your question. So if I did, my apologies, and do feel free to jump in.
Yeah, so if you can get it from if you can get it from print to digitized text on your computer, then yeah, you can use OCR. You could use OCR, various types of OCR to achieve that, depending what you've got. So, you know, on a Mac, for instance, there's speech. So you would just highlight all, right, mouse click or other kind of shortcuts and click on speech, and it will just read it all out for you. I'm not sure on Windows, to be honest. I'm sure there's a way. I'm going to have a look now while I'm here.
Liz, hope that helped to answer your question. If anyone else has questions or comments for Mark, or you want to ask about anything that we've touched on today in relation to the Henshaws Knowledge Village, that you can raise your hand with Alton Y, or type in the chat with Alton H. What are you guys? Obviously, you're finishing the report for the NHS, and you've been doing the travel assisted stuff. Anything else big coming up, Mark, that you want to flag for us?
Yeah, something a little bit. It's brand new. I actually only came in today, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with it. But it is an interesting subject, and it's a little bit left field, to be honest. But it's about, you know, that external environment again. So it's probably a nice, interesting comment, really. So it's really about these kind of Dutch style cycle crossings. Have you heard of them?
These shared spaces.
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
Yeah, but not specifically about. So we know the shared spaces because they're, I don't know, a good 8-year-old, I reckon, that idea of shared spaces, generally at junctions, and it's cars as well, generally. But there's some areas in Manchester where I think there's no traffic apart from cycling. So it's how you navigate a road across cycle lanes, because it's shared spaces again, and again you start getting into how quiet some of the bikes are, especially and the speeds that some of the electric bikes go. So it's again, I think it's a project that's being run by Transport Great Manchester, and they're looking at acquiring groups of people, recite loss to go through the process, and even training them on how to cross these crossings. So that's something interesting that's probably going to be coming to all of us at some point.
And it's great that you're looking at that, Mark, and I suppose that you're in from the start and trying to explore what's the best way to manage that for safe travel for everyone. Absolutely. I suppose. So Liz has raised her hand. So Liz, I'm going to bring you in. You should be able to unmute yourself, I hope. Sometimes Zoom does crazy things here.
Am I unmuted now?
I think we have you. Yeah. How are you, Liz?
I used to be able to scan things, earlier on when I had a standalone scanner that I could send things to the computer from that, and it was very, very useful. Incoming post or hospital reports, that sort of thing. I was able to get them into a document I could read on the computer with my screen reading software. But it was probably about 12 years ago that a guy who was at College of North West London, where I learned to use the computer without sight, there was something in Word or in Microsoft, I'm not sure what, that I could actually control the scanning aspect from the computer. And there was a difference between document imaging and document scanning, and the scanning had OCR in it. But I can't find that on my present software, which is Windows 10 and Microsoft 365. All pretty much up to date, but I can't get there.
Yeah, well, I've so on my Mac, I can highlight any text, right mouse click, and I've got an option of speech. But I'm literally here now trying to do it. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but here's what it is. I'm trying to do that with Microsoft 365 now, and you're not getting that, so it's not as simple as that. But there is a dictate feature on 365, which is great, but I am not finding any obvious way for that to transpose that text into speech at all at the moment. But Liz, if there's a way, I will let you know. How's that? Because that's what it's all about.
Thank you.
So let me just check you if I've got your details. Well, I haven't. I don't think. Let me have a look.
No, if Liz, if you're happy for me to pass your info on to Mark, I can do that after the session.
That's fine. Yes, thank you.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay. And just the other thing.
It was worth coming. It was worth coming, Liz, just for that.
The other thing that springs to mind is probably the JAWS OCR feature, which might be useful, where you can scan it.
Well, yeah. Well, I have that. I've got JAWS, so
yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Where you can OCR an image or a page of text from a scanner, so that might help too.
Right, I've got it. I've got it.
Hang on. Okay, hang on. Go, Mark.
Right, you ready? So highlight your text. I've not done it. Highlight your text in Word, for instance. Go to Review, and then there's a read aloud function there.
Okay.
So when I'm on the computer, I don't have any difficulty because I've got JAWS, the screen reading software reads pretty much everything, except that when something goes, I don't. But when we put things into the scanner, printer, fax machine, and has pressed the scan button, for example, because I don't know my way around that machine anyway. it comes up as something that, you know, George just announces it's an empty document.
Oh, right. Sorry. I misunderstood.
In other words, he hasn't found any words there. So, but you know, I'll have a look. I'll have a good look through 365 and see what I can find. But anyway, thank you for your help.
Thanks, Liz. And just before you go, Liz, I think Stuart Beveridge was going to come in there as well before.
Yeah, now I haven't used it for a while, but I used to use something called ABBYY Find Reader with students up in colleges, and what that used to do was actually convert scanned documents of kind of all forms, if you like, Liz, into readable text. And it was really one of the easiest pieces of software I used alongside JAWS. You know, it's actually a piece of software that just used to sit on my desktop, and it would convert scanned material into legible text that could be read with JAWS. And, you know, this was PDFs. This was actually even documents that had been, you know, scanned in just on a computer. You know, it was able to extract the text. Now, probably what I would say is don't ask me any difficult questions, because I haven't used it in a long time and it has moved on a lot, but I'm sure ABBYY Find Reader is still around. And I know that Ruth, Stuart, I know that Ruth Gallagher-Carr at Sight and Sound, when she was the business development manager up in for Scotland, she actually did give me a free copy a long time ago to test it. So that might be something worth exploring.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something I'm familiar with, Stuart, so that's really
you.
helpful. Yeah, that's brilliant. Liz, but by all means, come back to us if you need more help.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks a million for your question.
Right.
Okay, if there are any other raised hands or comments, now is your time. You can press Alt and Y to raise your hand, Alt and H to chat. If not, we're coming towards the end of the session because we've been the best part of an hour. I want to thank Mark Belcher sincerely for giving us his time. Mark's a great friend of Sight and Sound. We've been collaborating with Mark and the team for, I think, about a year now, Mark, maybe?
Yeah.
So we're absolutely delighted that we finally got you onto a webinar, and thanks for joining us.
Did I tell you about the Hable one and the video that's coming up? Did I mention that?
Give us a shout out. We love the Hable one here.
Well, we did. So Alice, I mentioned Alice before. She was the lady who found the NHS button that didn't work. We did some filming with her, and it was basically Alice's journey from child to adult with regards to Braille. So, you know, Perkins was in there, Refresh Braille Reader was in there, an app she currently uses, an iOS app, which is basically a non-tactile version of the Hable one that she uses. And then obviously we then ended with the Hable one, which is a fantastic device. So what we've done, we've got this long video, but then we've carved it up. So I think there's 2 videos that are just now out on the Knowledge Village. There's one about the Perkins, me and Alice talking about the Perkins, me and Alice talking about the Refresher Braille. And then we've got the other 2 coming out soon, and then the long one. So the Knowledge Village is crammed full of stuff. It's you know, if you're going to do anything today, go and have a look, because there's something for everyone.
Where can people find these videos? What's the quickest way to get to them?
So the easiest way is to go to Henshaws, so www.henshaws.org.uk, and then go find the Knowledge Village. So it's one of the easy tabs. Also on that page, you'll find Insights, which is that collaboration with people living with sight loss. So there's 17 videos up there, but we're always looking, and we're always, you know, including people to, you know, get that 100 score. And then there's YouTube. So literally, if you put Henshaws YouTube in, you'll get us. And there's hundreds on there. So yeah, that's how you can find them.
Brilliant. Okay, thanks very much, Mark. Really appreciate that, and I'm sure people will be checking out the Knowledge Village. There's some great videos there, as Mark said, and I know you guys are always adding. That's all for today. Next month, as we said, Stuart, you're going to be. I'm really looking forward to this. You're going to be showing us the Chromebook, and any little kind of tidbits you want to tell us to get us excited.
So what I was going to do, I'm going to keep it very basic, but I'm going to go through why you would even consider a Chromebook, because believe it or not, the Chromebook is fast becoming my computer of choice for a number of reasons. So I'm just going to take you through my kind of Chromebook journey and why I decided to buy one. And then we will look at the Chromevox screen reader, which is Google's very interesting version of their own built-in screen reader, which is obviously along the same lines as VoiceOver, you know, JAWS, etc. You do control it slightly differently, but yeah, we'll go through that. We might even have a wee look at connecting it up to a braille display depending on time, but yeah, we're hopefully that's going to capture people's interests, and I look forward to it, even though I'm giving up a part of my holiday, Stuart, aren't I?
Stuart, it's the love of the love of the social hub. You're coming back on your holidays to do this for us.
I'm even giving up my own precious time for you guys, so you better join.
Right, we're going to buy Stuart something nice at the end of the next session.
Joking, it's not a problem.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it. Mark has put the link for Henshaws up on the chat as well for anyone who wants it. Guys, thanks a million for joining us. Mark, you're a gentleman as always. Thank you for coming along.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Stay well and look after yourselves, everybody. We're back with you all in 5 weeks from today. That's March the 24th for the next installment of the Social Hub. Thanks everybody.